Hi everybody, I'm Joey Evans, and today we are taking a look at an expansion for one of my favorite game, Western Legends, and that is Western Legends Blood Money. I was really excited about this because it adds several different points to the game. There's also Ante-Up out there as well, and some mini expansions and stuff. So anyway, before I talk about how this is what I think of the expansion, let's see how it's played. And again, we're not going to go into, we're assuming you know Western Legends, so we're just going to go into what is included in this expansion. So let's do that and then come back here. Okay, here's a quick overview of Western Legends Blood Money. I'm not going to go into exactly how Western Legends work. If you got this expansion, you probably know the base game and probably Ante-Up. So I'm going to quickly go over what is included, some of the things that are included in this. First off, you do have some new characters here that you can play right over here, and they also come with their goals. Here we go, and you also have some new poker cards that give various things, and these you will take and actually replace the corresponding card from the deck, otherwise it would not be a real poker deck. Then you've got random setup cards here that if you want to randomize your gameplays. And then you've got the wound cards. These wound cards are for whenever you get wounded past your maximum. So normally you would just keep going, but this right here, these would be different wounds you get, like right here. You would get you cannot use actions on cards. Let's see if I can focus on that. There we go. And broken arm, you cannot use bonus effects on cards. So, and they're also worth -1 LP at the end of the game. Now these you can get rid of the same way you would remove your wounds at the doctor's office, so you can also get rid of those, but they do add something there at the end that you do need to take care of and take a look at. Then you've got some deeds. This adds a little element of maybe set collection or a benefit here that you can buy deeds for certain lands as you go through the game. So all these deeds right here, they also give you actions. For example, this action, flip this to move to the Dark Rock Bank and you may deposit nuggets. Then you also, in the game, you can gain some LP for each deed you own, including this one. So these deeds add a little bit of variety to the game and can be added. They're pretty fun to have in there. So then you've also got the biggest things that I was excited about with this are the Traveling Trader and the story, the legendary stories right over here. So this story track works, it takes the place of the bigger story deck in the base game. This one right here will be set in here, and you're going to move along this story track here. But everything here are the legendary stories. So all of these you're going to get to read. So let's go ahead and pick one of these here. Tell you what, here we go, let's pick the first one. Let's see here. The local gangs have grown a bit too brave. The sheriff's out for blood, paying a decent price for information that leads to the capture of such types. This is an opportunity to put an end to the exploits of these lawbreakers, as well as a means to eliminate the competition for like-minded criminals. So these right here, when you set this here, this will give you 2 areas to complete these. All right, and then you can flip and read what it says on the back. And you can also move up this track here. These are story points. Start, move the sheriff up to 3 spaces, spawn bandits at hideouts A, B, or C, and choose one to game 1, GP, LP, MP, or WP. So this right here, this is going to give different, it actually adds a bit of more speed to the game. Then you also have these that will be placed at different places throughout the map. And you can actually ruin different areas in the map. If it's ruined, you place it here, and then you can use a repair action to fix it. Now, Traveling Trader, this is a really exciting part. This guy right here moves around the board, and wherever he is, you can use a buy action to access any of these right here, such as bullwhips. They have a bullwhip, boot knife, pocket knife, burrow, all of these. And he also sells legendary items. And these legendary items are worth or cost $40. Now, when someone buys from this, you are going to shuffle these up. We'll have them sitting there, and then you're going to pull one, and the Traveling Trader then moves. So next time he is going to move to Dixon Creek. So every time the Traveling Trader will move different areas of the map. And again, adds variety. This right here is a risk die. You can, at any time, you can choose to roll the risk die, but there is a risk. So before rolling this die, you're going to choose one of the following bonuses to gain. You draw a poker card, gain $10, or move one. but then you have to roll what happens here. It could be a story point, which is a good thing, but it could also be a wound. It could be 2 wounds. So that's where you're probably going to be using these, because if you start to really depend on this, you're probably going to get wounded a lot more. So, okay, one other thing that it does come with a bit of updated player aids here that are going to add the different things that this adds, so you still can hand these out. For example, repair is on here, traveling trader, so some of the things here, and also the anti-up, those things are on here as well. So these are added too to hand out to everybody, so you can kind of more know, there's not like one sheet, then 2 sheets, 3, everything is right on here. It also gives you what the roll in the risk die is at the bottom. So, okay, so that is the majority of things. That's most things that are right there in Western Legends Blood Money. They just add more to what you like. But let's go back and see what I thought about it. Okay, so that is everything that is included in Western Legends Blood Money. That's the high points of everything here. I'm going to go through each of these kind of things as really on their own and see what they add to it. And a couple of things. First of all, the deeds. The deeds are really fun. They give some variety and stuff, kind of a set collection and more of an action. It gives you more things to do throughout the game. The one thing I do hesitate on certain games like this, like I mentioned before, is I do love Western Legends. But a lot of times when you add too many things in there, it starts to bloat what is already a simple, great game, because Western Legends itself is open world and it's very quick to jump into. But then the more stuff you add, like Andy-Up added like Pharaoh, added the train, added several things like that, it can overcomplicate the game in my opinion. But let's see if this does it. For right now, the deeds are fine. You can add them, you can have them on the side. That's not something to really focus on, but it does give you something extra to do at the end. Then you also have the wounds. The wounds are very interesting because it does give something bad that happens if you go past the number of wounds you do have. And you can get rid of them very easily by going to the doctor, so they're not like critical, they don't ruin your game or anything, but it does make it a bit more difficult or challenging. And I think they're good to have now, especially with the introduction of the risk die. The risk die, honestly, maybe it's just our gaming group hasn't rolled it a lot because it's not really worth getting those hits. But you could actually get those story points, and it is, I mean, it's at a risk, but if you really need to move one more, because there are so many turns where if you had one more move, you could accomplish what you want to accomplish. So on those rare times, we will go, you know what, I really need to get back here and make that deposit, or I need to get through and complete the story before someone else does, especially in the higher player counts. Then you know what, roll that risk die. It's really interesting. I don't know how often it's going to be rolled in your group, but really it's fun to have that option. It's like, you know what, let's do this. And it's always exciting to see the person roll that. So I do like that part as well. And a couple of other things, the traveling trader. That's interesting because to buy things, of course, you have to go back into town. And this little guy moving around the board, it's pretty fun. And the thing about him is the train in Andy-Up is fun to heist and to rob and all that stuff, but it does become a bit fiddly because you are moving that in between every turn. You'll forget if you don't really focus on what to do in order. And it's like, I got to move the train here, I got to move them 2 spaces. So that kind of adds a bit of complexity as far as moving in between turns. I love the heisting of it, everything, but it does add a bit of something to remember, right? Especially if you have newer players and you're focused on teaching them as well as moving that train every time. This guy itself is easy. He's going to stay there until someone utilizes him to buy the cards, to upgrade something, or to get legendary, one of those legendaries or whatever. And then you're going to draw one of these cards and he's going to move to somewhere else. And that can actually change someone's turn because they're like, well, I was going to do this, but all of a sudden you got the traveling trader here, which is really, in my mind, very thematic. I mean, the fact that you're going to go to work and all of a sudden you just see a traveling trader just show up and you're like, well, I might as well just check out what he's got. And then the fact that they do cycle out those legendary items, it's pretty fun. So I do like what that does. But now, so those are the big main things with this. As far as like, you know, the poker cards add some things and the characters and all are fine. But the big thing for me, I know the traveling trader, but this is this story part right here. I gotta say, this is fantastic. And the story cards are fine out there, but they're all just kind of meh in the base game. This just seriously kicks it up a notch. This little story part down here is fun to give different things that happen. You get to move the sheriff more often. You get to spawn more bandits because a lot of those things don't spawn until certain things happen. This kind of brings them out more. But being able to do this and to pause the game, this so many times we have played, and it's fun when one of these comes out because whoever it is gets to sit there and read it and they really get involved. And like, for instance, let me read you what this one exactly is right here. It's going to say something like, you hear them out in the desert like a mourner's call. The livestock's cries soon follow. Coyotes, packs of them, sulking in the dark. So pretty much it goes through, and all of a sudden with this particular one, there are coyotes out there. So if you ever end your turn outside of town, you are going to have to roll the risk die to see if you got bit by a coyote. And right here, you've got to go to the different parts on the map and shoot those coyotes and kill those coyotes, and you would get money and a story point. But you have to have a legendary item to do it. So this is really fun when something like this comes out, because a lot of times with Western Legends, the more you play it, you're going to have different paths to victory that you enjoy doing. Whether or not it's gambling, whether or not it's mining, whatever it is. But this right here adds some variety in the fact that, you know what? I was going to spend this money, get those victory points or legendary points over at the cabaret or whatever, but I'm going to try to do this. And it kind of lets you deviate from what you normally do. And all of these are different. A lot of the stories are the same, but the rewards on the back are different when you finally read them. This right here is a must-have for Western Legends for me. I think this right here adds so much variety to the game. It just, and so much immersion, right? Because I loved Andy Up because of the train, but this, as far as just immersive, this is great. This just puts a face to everybody. Talk about the Pinkertons and all this. It just really brings you into that Western Legends theme. Now, the thing about Western Legends itself is, I think you can really pick and choose which things you want to add, although I do like to have everything here. We're not going to use everything on every game, just because you want to keep it streamlined, you want to keep moving what you want to move. But this right here will be in every game. This will replace the normal story deck, because it is just seriously that good. If this pack was only this, I would be fine with it. Because they're that good, they're that fun to read, and I look forward to everybody else completing those side quests so we can flip it, and then you read the story at the end, how it ends, and you get your, whatever you get, the reward at the end, and then you get to go on to the next one. So that itself is fantastic. So again, all right, so this whole thing, taking everything into effect for Western Legends Blood Money, I would give this an 8.5. Because this is essential for the game. Now, you might not think that for you, but I love, even if it's just a Traveling Traders and the story deck right here. The other ones are good. The risk die is fun to have. It'll be an occasional roll, and the rest of them. But these right here, if you have Western Legends, if you've thought about playing it, bring this. This actually, I'm going to drop it, but it's okay because it's a card. But this right here it really immerses you even more in Western Legends. So I think this is an essential addition to Western Legends. And if you haven't tried it, do it with this. That's one of the rare expansions that I'll say, you know what, if you're playing for the first time, definitely add this, because this is going to immerse whoever is playing for the first time into the experience. So that is from me. Western Legends Blood Money is an 8.5. So I really, really like this expansion. So if you don't have it, go out and get it. And if it's on a train that's coming by you, if you time it right, you can jump on the train and you can get in the train and you can pull out Blood Money, and it's actually Annie Up that has a train. I don't know. I'm sticking with that though. So, okay. All right. I'm Joey Evans, and that was Western Legends Blood Money.